Hi. Today is May 31st. It's the third day of my vlogging. And in my meditation this morning, I was thinking about what kept coming up was all about surrender. And that I was trying to figure out what is it I'm trying to say here, really. Ultimately, I'm trying to impress upon you that when you can start surrendering your life to your higher self, to whatever you want to call it, surrender to the universe, your higher power, to God, however you want to couch it. When you surrender, you will be guided to your biggest and best self. When he's reading these books on manifestation and stuff like that, it never really worked very well for me because I never really knew. It was hard for me to focus on one thing because I never thought that I knew what was best for me. My little self never knew what was the very best for me. So I would tend to throw it up to God. Just show me what's best. And I had ways that I was guided through that. I used to chant Nichiren Shoshu Buddhism, and in Buddhism you learn there is a sense of you're learning how to surrender. And my parents were involved in AA, and so there was definitely always this thought of surrendering to your higher power. So these ideas weren't new. I read this book called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, and she really went into this whole thing about living with divine will, divine timing, just giving it up and letting God take over. And then a few years ago, I read this book by Tosha Silver, and she really put the cap on it. It's called Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead. And in that book, she had also been a student of Florence Scovel Shinn, but she took it one step farther to adding in the Change Me prayers. And so that the prayer, the Change Me prayer, so you can surrender to God, but just saying, I'm surrendering all of this to you, God, but how do I do that sometimes? Sometimes it's really difficult when you're in the midst of some catastrophe in your life. You got people who, you got kids and things happen with them. And, like when my son was, in his teens, he was a rough player, and I had to surrender completely. And I suppose in my way, I was like, just take it over, just take him over. I see him in a protected light, just take him over. I know that whatever is best, whatever is going to happen is going to be what is his sole purpose, but just, keep him safe. But of course, maybe I couldn't even keep him safe with my prayer, but I could keep myself safe. Let me have some peace with this. My mom used to talk about that, and I think she learned that a lot in Al-Anon. It's really this sense of surrender, knowing that it isn't really about you when other people are doing their stuff. It's not a personal stuff you have to thing. It's just that you have to let them act out and do what they need to do, and you have to keep yourself safe by standing up for yourself. So all those things, are useful. So you're surrendering, but you're not becoming you're not becoming a doormat. You're not letting people walk on you. You're taking care of yourself and your truth. When you surrender to the power that is beyond you, your higher self, you get information, you get ideas. That's why we meditate, so that we can get into the creative flow. It's like this energy that's flowing through us, and if we're not listening to it, we're not picking up all those little nuances, and really we are getting them, but Spirit speaks to us so gently, so subtly, that unless we're really listening, then and following those leads, then it's hard. Then if you're stuck in your own mind, then forget it, but you probably wouldn't even bother listening to anything I have to say if you're in that place, because it's all about listening to the divine. So Tosha Silver, in her book Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead, she talks about how she lived her life, and she uses these Change Me prayers, she calls them, and it's a really beautiful idea. It's not unlike prayers that I've been doing in my life, but she really gave it a good, it gave some meat to it. And it's a beautiful practice. So if you have any issues, if something's come up, please, Divine Beloved, take me over, show me a way, give me a sign. Let me be quiet. Let me understand how to be in this. And maybe you don't even have to understand the problem, but help me to live in this. I personally do a lot of conversing with God. I'm loud too, and I'm not real demure. I'm pretty demanding. I can be quite demanding in the sense that, darn it, I'm not doing well right now. I need a sign. That kind of thing. Not give me what I want, but show me what's the next move. So the surrender has to do with surrender has to do with allowing whatever your higher purpose to come through. And it's not about my desires, because my desires, I don't really know what's best for me. I really don't. Because when I was living without God, in a way, when I was younger and I was partying and, trying to mask all of my feelings and trying to fit into the world, which I didn't do very well, in the sense of I just didn't fit, I just didn't. And I was trying my darndest, and all I was doing was polluting my body, and until I could, the desires that I had were so superficial in terms of, all around us. Well, I have to have a bigger house. I need to have a nice car. I have to have money. I have to have all these clothes and blah, blah, blah. But it creates anxiety and this need to perform in a certain way in work. And if that's not what you do, I'm an artist, but I'm not really a great marketer. So, trying to make a living doing what I love, following my heart, hasn't always been, it's not really meshing within what the outside world, what the external world tells me is success. I feel like I've been a very successful person in that I've been able to live my life in a really beautiful way in terms of making and so on. But if you looked at my bank statement on paper, I haven't been very successful according to the outside world. So the way that I live through, if I were only going by those false desires, then I wouldn't be, I'd be unhappy. And God, or my relationship with a higher purpose or universe, whatever, shows me that really what's important is these things that the creating and just the family and talking about God. That's really important to me. Why am I doing this? I don't know. There's something I would like. This is all I know. This is what I know. And I want to share it with people so that they can find some peace, I feel I have a lot of peace in my life. Sometimes I'm on a journey still. I'm still learning. I have tons to learn. About my own stuff and my own feelings and the things that come up. And of course, my children are my greatest teachers, and my relationship with my husband, and, just living in the world. And everything's not perfect, but actually it is. It's perfect in its imperfection. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to even be able to have this phone that I can make this video from. And I actually got a video camera for Christmas a couple of years ago, so I need to set that up so I can actually be looking into the video. Okay, so anyway, thanks for listening, and I really wish you a beautiful day. Life is fabulous. Even when it isn't, it really is. If you can just if you're not feeling good, just kind of embrace it. Love yourself. If I had only one thing that I could tell you, love yourself, be your best friend, be your own best friend, because you're the only thing that really matters is that you love yourself. And when you love yourself, you can love the world. It's really so true. I know it sounds kind of trite, but it really isn't. It's like you have to love yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, then you got to fake it till you make it. You have to find something that you can love yourself about. And as you love yourself one little bit, you'll start loving more and more and more. All right. Blessings.